Hello, everyone. Thank you to Karen, who helped to fill in this Sunday. Psalm 100 was great. Loved the preaching. It was very reflective and wonderful. And I thank you that it connected to our series in the Psalms and that inspired this deep reflection from Sunday. But I've also heard from some of you going, but are we going to finish Leviticus? And so I didn't want to leave everybody hanging, because next time we gather together on Sunday, it'll be Advent, and we will be in the Gospel according to Matthew. And so I didn't want to leave you all hanging. So here's a short piece to kind of tie up that story of Leviticus, that book of Leviticus, and where we'll say, I'm going to give you a taste of what that sermon would have been like. So just reflecting, right? It's Thanksgiving week, and it's a season of holidays. It's a season where we reflect on all of our blessings. This week we will gather with friends and with family, and we will get together and have good food, good laughs, hopefully, make memories. And for some of us, it'll be a joyous time. And others of us, the holiday season brings something different. The reflections are a little bit more somber. Maybe it's because we're realizing that there will be people missing from our tables, that we may have lost loved ones. And so it's a time where blessings can be mixed feelings. Blessings that we have loved this person was in our life, and a feel of sadness and grief that they're no longer here. And just giving it a language to use, a curse. It feels heavy and dark, this grief sometimes that is straddled around us. Others of us may reflect on the people who aren't at our table, not because they've passed on, but because of consequences of their actions. Maybe there's people that you no longer welcome at your table because of conflict, because of the actions that they have done. Maybe you're the person who isn't invited to the table because of the actions you've done. Again, holidays become this interesting time where we reflect on our blessings and on our curses. It's a time where we think about our ups and downs, our joys and our heartaches in these moments. And so it seems fitting that we're finishing Leviticus with a look at Leviticus 26. So if you wanted to, you could open that up, you could read it. It's a beautiful moment where at the end of Leviticus, we find God giving blessings and curses. And blessings and curses are traditional ways to end covenants. And so in this way, Leviticus is pointing forward to the book of Deuteronomy that will end the books of Moses, where it ends with blessings and curses. And at the same time, it reinforces that Leviticus is really the heart of the Torah, the heart of the first 5 books of the Bible. Leviticus is great, not just because of everything that it's done, but these blessings and curses, they seem to sum up what we've been hearing from Leviticus all along. That listening and doing what God would have us do is deeply important. Listen to the Lord and do what he asks. It's a central aspect, a central theme that is woven in and out and throughout Leviticus, right? That's how we be in good relationship with the Lord. We can look at the offerings as a way and an invitation to listen to the Lord and do what he asks so we may be in right relationship. We could see the tale of what it looks like when we don't listen. If we remember the story of Nadab and Abihu, right? The 2 priests who did whatever they wanted and didn't listen to the Lord. And the last time I was with you, we talked about Leviticus for everyone, where this isn't just a priestly tech manual only for a select few, but for everybody, where this is a call on every person in God's kingdom and how we live together and what that looks like, what that righteousness looks like, that right relationship looks like, not just with God, but with each other as we live in God's community. So now the Lord gives us a choice. After going through that, the offerings, the narrative of the priesthood, its creation and its fall, and the way to redeem and then be in God's presence, again, that grace being offered and how we all get to participate in that. And then finally, here, the blessings and curses. So let's start with the bad news, because I'm the bad news kind of first person. There are multiple layers to curses, each build on top of each other, as in, if you continue not to listen and do, this will happen. You could also say to not listen and do, the consequences pile up. Things will get worse. God, in the curses, is describing his patience with his people. There are like 5 layers to the curses, and even at the end, God says there will be exile, but still hope of restoration after that. Let that sink in, that time and time again, God is anticipating. He's saying, if you don't listen, the consequences will build up. This will happen, then this, and oh my gosh, this. And then finally, you will be exiled. And that is horrible, and that is the worst of the worst. But even after that, I offer you restoration. I think there is a reason for that. Each of these curses are not simply meant to punish. Definitely consequences. But the hope of Yahweh is the consequences of the people set them on the right path back to him. That these punishments aren't just punishments. They're consequences to what they're doing. Your actions, how you live, has consequence. Consequence not only for your own life, but the people around you, and for your relationship between you and God and us and God. And so even as God, the language is using punishment, the goal is not to ultimately punish. The goal is ultimately for the people of God to return to God. It is the consequences happening and looking around and going, this is not great, this is awful. And knowing that the Lord will take you back. He will welcome you like the prodigal son, and welcome you with open arms and hold you close and dear, and that there is a path for restoration in that relationship. So again, the point of the curses is meant to invite us back into relationship with God, partnering with him, also known as listening and doing. That is why even exile is meant to bring the people back to the Lord. Consequences of broken relationships are natural this time of the year. Maybe there's moments where you're reflecting on maybe you could have done better, maybe you shouldn't have said this, maybe you hurt this person. And the good news, I think, of this is that there is always time to reconcile. There's always time for forgiveness. There's time to restore relationship that might lead you back to the table or lead somebody else back to the table. Hear the good news in Leviticus, even in these curses, that God is slow to anger and abounding in loyal love, faithfulness, compassion, and mercy. Hear the good news that God is the one who yes, will allow our consequences, but even in that, he doesn't abandon us, but is at the ready like a parent waiting to comfort their child. God is ready and waiting. Forgiveness is there. Love remains. And so there is always time to return to that. There is always a seeking of God, of restoration in relationship and reconciliation. And if that's true of us, between us and God, then my hope is that is true of us and one another, right? That it's never too late to apologize. It's never too late to offer forgiveness. It's never too late to seek to make things right. How about some good news? Even more good news. Let's focus on the good news. Let's focus on the blessings. The blessings here sound like Eden blessings. You hear echoes of Eden, which we shouldn't be surprised with. Leviticus is always full of that, right? Images drawing us back to the garden to push us forward a time when God restores us and renews us, the day of the Lord, new creation, the kingdom come. There's provision in daily bread, peace between human and beast, no fear, victory over enemies, fruitfulness and multiplying, and God's abiding presence. Interestingly enough, when we look at the blessings and we look at Jesus, we see the full picture. Jesus shows provision in feeding the 5,000 and the wedding at Cana. He seeks to unite humanity as one family under God, so there is peace. In the Gospel of Mark, the temptation narrative of Jesus in the wilderness being tempted, Jesus is there, and it includes the fact that not only was Jesus in the wilderness, but he was in the wilderness with the wild beasts, yet there was no trouble with them. The implication is that even though there were wild beasts, things to be scared of, Jesus was at peace with them, like Daniel in the lion's den. His first words to his disciples after his resurrection is, "Do not be afraid." Easter declares his victory over the true enemies, sin and death. And the whole earth is filled with humans. So at the end of Matthew, Jesus commissions his followers to go and make more disciples from every tribe and nation. Finally, the Gospels declare he is Emmanuel, the tabernacle among us, right? Emmanuel is Matthew. Tabernacle is John. God is abiding with us. When we see the good news and the blessings found here in Leviticus chapter 26, we find Jesus is the good news, the ultimate filling full of those blessings. He is the blessing. Jesus is the good news of the blessings. He is the blessings. He brings the blessings, and he offers the blessed life to all who will follow him. Thanksgiving is a time gathered around a table with friends and family, counting our blessings and expressing our gratitude for all that we have, for the friends around the table, for the family around the table, for even the loved ones that we've passed, that have passed, that we miss. We express our gratitude for knowing them and the blessing they were in our lives. We bless the food and we celebrate that we have food, right, around the table and the roof over our head and the family to come together or the friends to come together. And all of this is great, but our chief gratitude among that should be our presence with Christ and God's presence with us. Our biggest blessing in our life should be the recognition that Christ is with us. That because Jesus is with us, we know the blessed life. We experience the blessed life. We have a blessed life. Following him, abiding in him, transforms us into people of gratitude because we recognize the ultimate blessing that we have. So even as we lose loved ones, even as maybe we have a little more or a little less around the table as far as food, maybe it's been a good year, maybe it's been a bad year, maybe it's been a hard year, maybe you're just surviving, maybe you're thriving. Even through those ups and downs, those blessings and curses, we can have hearts of gratitude and thankfulness because we have God with us. Emmanuel. He tabernacled among us. I think that's beautiful, and that's a wonderful message that reminds us of the important things in life, which, again, I hope that's what Thanksgiving is for you. That it reminds you of the important things in life. That hopefully you have a table that you're at, that you get to look around, you get to count your blessings. And it transforms your heart into a heart of gratitude and thankfulness. Because the Lord has given you so many blessings, including himself. The Torah, not just Leviticus, ends with a choice. Two paths to take, one of blessing and one of curses. One of listening and doing and one of disregard and usurpation. Leviticus ends with an invitation for God's people to choose to be with him, partner with him, and be blessed. Live and experience the good life is the invitation of Leviticus. And even in curses, when we disregard or detach or go our own way, God invites us back into relationship despite the suffering, despite our suffering and the consequences of our actions, and even in our brokenness, we're still invited. Leviticus as a whole invites us into that blessed life. It invites us, it begs us, it asks us to choose life, the blessed life, one shaped by God, the one life that is blessed because he is with us and for us, the blessing of God present with us and can absolutely bring about our transformation. And that transformation as the people with living, compassionate, merciful hearts that are filled with gratitude and thankfulness. But with God, there's always a choice. There's always a choice, my friends. And so will you choose this life? Will you wake up every morning and choose life? Choose God. Choose Christ. Remain and abide in the vine. Or will you go your own way? Will you break relationships and do things your own way and trying to control everything, which will have consequences of its own? There's choices in life. The Bible loves to remind us of that. And so as we go forward into this holiday and into the holiday season, may you be blessed. May you choose life. May you hear the good news here in Leviticus chapter 26, that God is for you, God is with you, God seeks to bless you and be present with you, and that he sent his one and only Son, that you may know him, be with him, and be with him forever. And that is a choice. And in that life, if you so choose that life with Christ, may it transform you and me and everybody around us into people of forgiveness and grace and mercy and compassion, that in our gratitude and our thankfulness, knowing what a blessed life we have because we have Christ, that we can offer that same blessing to all those around us. So that way, whether it's on Thursday or in the age to come when our Christ returns, we all sit around the table together, not broken but whole, with hearts of gratitude and thankfulness, praising God for his abounding love. May this message find you and give you hope. May it give you peace. May it give you comfort. May it challenge you, as Leviticus hopefully has. May you have a wonderful holiday. May you have a happy Thanksgiving. And I'll see you in the new year in Advent.